All right, time for part 5. So part 5, this is going to be a discussion about the framing. As you can see, I got some wood around this thing, and we're going to talk about the pump action here, because after that, then I can flip it. I think I said in part 4 I was getting ready to flip it. All the electronics were done, and we're going to be able to work on the top. Well, that's not true. I want to go ahead and finish out the pump work, and then I want to finish out drilling the bottom so I can get these flow connectors and the aqueduct or the storm drain done. So I made a video of the framing, so go ahead and take a look at that. It is in time lapse, so I sped it up again to make this video shorter. But yeah, check it out. It's just standard gluing and cutting. I felt like I didn't have to show you every single little bit of the framing. All right, so we are ready for gluing. So let me explain a couple things here real quick. So I applied weight. That's what this is. This is just detergent, laundry detergent. Stack of books, more books, stack of magazines. I got a Clorox bleach bottle over here on the left. Basically, that weight on that unit allows me to apply pressure sideways, and this gives me more resistance with all this weight on it, so that lets me set it up so I can apply pressure. So this corner over here, I mean, it's perfect. So as a 90 degree, or as it's touching, it's perfect over there. So we're going to pull this off because I don't want it to glue. And that's it. We're going to let this set up overnight. So let's get into the pump. So now the pump, I want to show you. This is kind of cool, and it worked out perfectly. This piece here is the pump and the lid, obviously. So this piece here, I did some work over the course of the holiday break, and I put a new sink in one of my bathrooms. So from the old hardware, off of the old fixtures, I went ahead and saved them. So you can see here, I saved some stuff. As you can see here, I saved the connection. It's a quick disconnect valve. So I can go ahead and disconnect this if I want to by pulling on that little gray thing underneath here. Right, I'll go ahead and show you real quick. That tube just slides out. So I haven't ran the pump yet to see, where my leaks and stuff are at. But I don't think it's going to leak. It's got a little O-ring in there, and it seals up pretty good. So this sits in that basket like this. And as you can see now, I have my 3/8 inch tube. This is from a pen cap. This little white joiner here. This is a 3-inch or 1/2 inch OD, 3/8 of an inch inside diameter. So all this stuff is snug. It's right in there snug, nice and tight. So this goes like this into that basket. Now this is a PVC pipe. Again, drilled the PVC pipe, and I put a brass fitting in there, and then went ahead and put a clamp. Again, drilled. I'll glue this. You can see right in there. Now this piece, this is the back of the board, right? So we have the arrow here, that's the front of the board. So this piece, I'm going to drill a hole here, and then this piece from the other side is going to stick through and come out that piece of wood and penetrate or protrude into this section right here, just like this. Now this is for the return line. The fluid's going to run down the storm drain, and it needs a place to return. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole up here. Then we're going to bond this. Now check this out. I thought this was pretty ingenious. This is just a top to a regular water bottle. If you go look at your standard water bottle, Coke bottle, whatever, they're going to have a ring that goes around right here. Well, that ring, I sawed it off with my plastic saw, okay? Then took a 60 grit piece of sandpaper and sandpapered that flat. Then screwed the cap and everything back on, drilled the side with a smaller fitting, and you can see right there. Okay, so that's going to be the return line. So then it's going to get drilled, or it's going to get bonded to right underneath here, and then this is going to be a straight shot right into there for the return line, if you can see right there. So pump is going to work, pump the water to this location here, out through the pipe for the storm drain, run down, come to here, and then just drip feed back, right? So that's how this is all going to go together. So each hole was drilled with the hole saw, and I bought this kit at Harbor Freight. I believe it was like $9.99, something like that, close to $10, and it comes in a kit of 5. So the top hole up there is a 3/4 inch hole. The bottom hole down here is a 1 inch hole. You can tell that both of the holes are discolored. The reason they're discolored is because I went ahead and I took some thin CA and I went around the hole, and pretty much I just soaked them both. So I turned each area into basically hard plastic. So as the thin CA soaks in, continues to soak in, it just hardens up. Once you kick it with Zap Kicker, it hardens up like, hard plastic. So that is part of my solution on how this MDF board won't come apart if it gets wet, right? So this is to prevent it from swelling or, deteriorating over time from, any water getting to it or touching it. So the next thing we're going to do is I have some repair work to do up front on that front return hole. There's a gap. Let me grab a piece of paper here. There's a gap between the board and the MDF. So I have to fix that, obviously, because what's going to happen is the water is going to run. It's going to end. Its end point is against this board. So I have to waterproof this board, as well as, fold the paper over and do some other things here to waterproof this whole section from all the way over here, maybe 2 or 3 inches to the left, 2 or 3 inches to the right. This area is the biggest concern. The actual beginning flow over here, because I've sealed the tube and I've got everything sealed, the intent is no water is going to be on this end. All the water or fluid is, my concern is all at that end. So now what we're going to do is we're going to spend some time just reconstructing or sealing up that end. And how we're going to do that is we're going to just use normal wood glue. And the paper that you saw me use, we're going to just use regular butcher paper. And what we're going to do is we're just going to glue and tuck it in and do a little 90-degree work on inside and outside. So we're going to go ahead and reposition the camera so that you can actually see that. And I'll let that run a little bit, capture the actual doing the work, do a little time lapse, and then we'll come back after that. Okay, so this side is finished. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this bad boy over. And the beauty of what doing it this way, the paper mache style, is that once we flip it over, this is still wet. So as we flip it over and we start gluing the other side, the two surfaces or the two sides will bond together, because obviously this side's wet. When we flip it over and do that work on the other side, it's also wet. So as it cures, it'll cure together and it'll bond together, which will create that seal across there that we want. So let me go ahead and flip this bad boy over, and then I'll come back and you'll catch me doing the other side. So you can see what we discussed. Because that's wet, as I start doing the paper mache on this side, it'll bond together. So let's get started. Okay, so that's it for now. So now that we're finished with this area right here, I went ahead, and if you can see down there, that is the outlet. So that is where the fluid is going to come out, go into the storm drain, and run down. So you can tell I've done a little work on that end. It is no longer just flat like this. I went ahead and I built up, which is going to end up being kind of a concrete wall, or like a concrete foundation that's going to then hold this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is at that end all the way down there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to install this. So the second thing I did, just to let you guys know, there's a back piece all the way in the very back here. What this has done, this little section here, is when I install this, it actually rotates or tilts this a little bit forward. That way it gets the fluid out of this and running down. So I wanted a little bit of an angle. So with that back piece back here, that went ahead and I pre-planned a preset angle so that this is kind of looking down a little bit. It's hard to tell, but it is there. So that is going to go ahead and start the water flow in this direction. Now later when we build this, I'm actually going to build an angle into this. And when we get into that portion, I'll explain why I'm doing that and how I'm going to do it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to simply bond that in. Then we're going to flip this table over, or not the table, but the display board. And then we're going to bond this into the bottom on the return side. So let me go ahead. Again, you don't have to see this. This is just regular gluing, nothing special. I'm just telling you the process here. So I'm going to glue this in, then let that kick off 5 to 10 minutes. Once it's set, then I'm going to come turn this over and we're going to glue this. Then the last thing we're going to do, and I'll go ahead and show you that. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to install this in that top basket. Then I'm going to test it. So let's get all this done. So give me a couple minutes and I'll be back, and then we'll wrap this video up. So we're going to end part 5 with a little freeform camera action, not on a tripod. So I just wanted to show you the pump and the container for the pump and the installation. We did talk about that in part 5, and this is the most of the section was about setting up the pump and getting everything working. So this is installed. I went ahead, measured it out, got the pieces where they needed to go. If you can see here, I went ahead and I drilled the location into the side and then used tie wraps to tie the hose in location. Now that's in location for when I go ahead and flip the board over and put the board on it. Those stay in those locations where, if you remember, the board here, over here, let me show you. The board had those 2 locations right there. So those sit right inside those 2 little marks and 2 little locations right there. And there we go. Let me give you a little bit wider shot. You can see I went ahead, included a handle. I just finished that in the last couple days. So plug that handle in, comes out. And the board is about 2 inches, just shy of that handle, right about here. So the handle gives me a good place to grip, tote this around. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the board on, and I'm going to lay down on the ground, and I'm going to show you how it all looks from underneath. and then we'll close this out. So give me a minute to get the lights and everything set up, and I'll get under there and show you. You can see that's how it's carrying the miniatures. Okay, so let me crawl under there and set the lights and stuff up, and I'll show you underneath what we did. All right, so here we go. As promised, I'm laying on the floor of the house, and here is an underneath shot. So this shot is looking straight up into the board from the ground area, the ground level. As you can see over there on the left-hand side, I went ahead and added a switch all the way over here, right there. So that switch is just a start-stop switch or start-stop button. The whole system is still turned on by this toggle switch right here. But yeah, so let's go look at the pump. So there's the pump connection right here. And then over here, as you can see, I've got the connection of the wire for the pump right here. So we go ahead, we connect that in. Here is the actual inlet. So the pump will do its job and come in here and then pump out of that PVC pipe cap that's on the top and then run down the storm drain. This goes ahead, and all you do is you come in here. Once I get this all mounted, and we just go ahead and we insert this pipe right in there like that. So let me show you one more thing I did. So I went ahead and I drilled a hole right here. And then this hole, basically, that goes into this wood. I have one on this corner, and then I have another one on the opposite corner. But then what we do is we come in here and we pin this with the dowel rod. Just like that. So now this table is pinned to the cart. So now there is no way that this cart or this table is just gonna, pop off or come loose or hit the floor. I mean, if it does hit the floor, it's a disaster. That means the whole cart is tipped over. And then let's go ahead and look under the basket real quick. I'll shine the light in here. But there is the hot glue that we talked about. So in this series, or in this section of part 5, I told you that's how I'm going to attach the container for the water. So we're going to wrap this one up from the floor of my house, laying down on the floor, taking a picture. So hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, hit that like button. And if you guys are enjoying this series, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment sections. Tell all your friends on social media that I'm out here. That's the only way I get any marketing done. And like we always say on the channel, everybody, may all your dice rolls come up 6s unless you're looking for a 1. Peace out.